Hello, and welcome to a very short, quick description of the 5 ways to create a healing space in a community setting. My name is Dr. Uzonwapa. I am a community and public health nurse currently living in Ohlone Territory, also known as San Pablo, California, San Francisco Bay Area. And I am ecstatic about sharing this with you today. So we're going to get started. I'll share my screen. And I really want to begin with talking about the power of movement and dance. Movement and dance is something that has saved my life. It is something that when I came to this country from Nigeria, West Africa, I struggled so much with finding myself on this foreign land, understanding how I fit as a Black person, a foreigner, a person who English was not my first language. So there were issues with language, documentation, immigration status, my age as a child. There were so many things that got in the way of my well-being. And those were all considered risk factors. But dance and music is a protective factor. And I want to share a few things about that. Now, from Africa, Africans were brought here not by choice, but also some Africans came by choice. And so whether you came here by choice to this land or your ancestors were brought here not by choice, either way, there has been somehow something that connected us Africans on the continent and Africans in the diaspora. Music and dance has been one of them. So music and dance has served as a form of medicine for us, for African descendants, for thousands of years. It is something that has created an optimal condition to help us integrate our mind, body, and spirit. And it is its own form of communication. There are certain therapeutic benefits of African dance and African American dance, like an altered state of consciousness. Have you ever been in this state of dance and music where you felt so good about yourself? You were feeling so blissful. Your energy changed. You were able to connect with others socially. You were able to bond. You felt whole. That is not by chance. That is all part of historically what our ancestors knew was a protective factor to help us with our self-esteem and our physical health, and to help us solve problems, to help us connect with that which is greater than us, to help us be creative, empathetic. There's so many purposes of dance. There are also reasons for us to dance that will help us decrease and eliminate some of the things that are causing our health to decline, such things as anger, anxiety, depression, fear, grief. All of these states of emotion can be mitigated with movement and dance. I love the poet Rumi. And Rumi is reminding us to dance when we're broken, to dance even if we've torn the bandage off, to dance in the middle of fighting, to dance in our blood, and to dance when we perfectly feel free. I love that so much. My question to you is, how frequently are you dancing? And do you use it therapeutically? So this is the richer model. I love this model because it's a model that we can use. Anyone can use this to create a healing space in the community. So if you're somebody who's really gifted, you love to dance, you love to move your body, you are always the one that's like, come, let me show you this new dance move that I conjured up, or one that I saw on TikTok, or one that I saw somewhere. You are who I'm talking to. You can use the richer model to create a healing space in your community. So first things first, step one, you need to ask folks how they're feeling. You need to do a reflection. How are you feeling in this moment? As the facilitator, you also need to apply that to yourself. Before you get started at all, it's really important to check in with yourself. How am I feeling? And how are the folks who I'm working with feeling? Step two, Integrate the mind, body, and spirit. What does that mean? It means that our body, our minds, and our hearts, and our breath is in sync. There are certain things that help us get there quicker than others. One of them is breathing together. When we have a certain pattern of breathing that we do together as a group, there is something called heart math, which is when the brain and the heart have the wavelengths that are in cohesion. And when that happens, we are able to build trust amongst each other. We're able to see each other better. We're able to feel each other better. And it is a way to integrate the mind, body, and spirit. Step 3, bring on the dance. Now, we're focusing on dance today, but frankly, it can be any artistic endeavor that you are gifted with. It can be singing, gardening, painting. Any one of those, plus more, can fit here. Step 4, as the facilitator, it's always important to evaluate what's happening in the room. You want to maintain trust and the ability to keep the space safe. So if there's anything in the way, like cords or water on the floor or a young child running around, as the facilitator, it's really important for you that you elevate safety first. Sometimes people get into the trance of moving and they forget that their bodies have limitations. And so it's really up to us to make sure that we're supporting the room and the people who are moving in the room to keep their bodies safe, okay? And the last step, checking in with the group again and yourself. How am I feeling in this moment, all right? These questions can be asked by simply saying, how do you feel emotionally, physically, socially, and spiritually? Give folks some words to work with. If they're not sure how to come up with some words, that can be helpful. Here's an example of when I used the richer model working with a group of mothers in Aotearoa, which is also known as New Zealand, who were in the postpartum phase. They had just had their babies. The babies had to be at least 6 weeks old to participate. And this is what we did. For 10 minutes, I asked them how they were feeling, and they also had to fill out some sort of a screening, like the well-being index, or in this case, they filled out the EPDS scale, which is the Edinburgh Postpartum Depression Scale. I didn't list it here because it's really specific, but what I listed here is the PHQ-2, which is a 2-question questionnaire that you can use to check on the mental wellness of the folks in the room. The GAD-7, that should read GAD. The GAD-7 is a generalized anxiety scale that has 7 questions. The QOL is the quality of life scale. This is checking on people's quality of life. The well-being, the stress scale, any one of these should work. Then for another 10 minutes, we do some integration of the mind, body, and spirit. This is when we come into meditation. Guided imagery could work here, breathing together, even light stretches together that is done all together. This is a really critical part of getting the whole group in cohesion. Then you've got about another 10 minutes to work on technical exercises. So this is where the movement comes in. If there are particular movements, if you've been in any one of my other sessions, you understand that there is a flow in guiding people, how to go from low impact to high impact, back to low impact safely. And then evaluation is constant from the beginning to the end. This is where we're checking in on how folks are keeping themselves safe. Reflection at the end, cool down, checking in with folks. They can verbalize how they're feeling. They can write it down. And so there are multiple different ways in which you can continually check the pulse of the room to keep it safe. I'm sharing this here because as nurses, if you are watching this and you are a nurse, you understand the nursing process. So the richer model, right next to the richer process, to the nursing process, go hand in hand, all right? For the reflection, we're looking at assessment. For integration, we're looking at diagnosis. Choreography, we're looking at implementation, right? And so they mirror each other, and the richer model was inspired and informed by the nursing process. Here are some examples of results that some of the folks who engaged in the sessions have shared. And so it's always nice to be able to have this data and ready and available to share with the folks. So this, I used a program called Poll Everywhere, but that may not always be available. So sometimes when you're outdoors or you don't have access to technology, then you can just have it be handwritten, maybe a board where everybody can just write the words in, and they can, at the end, we can just share it with everybody. So that is what I have for you today. So just as a recap, step 1, reflect. Step 2, integrate mind, body, spirit. Step 3, provide the activity. Step 4, make sure you evaluate for safety. And step 5, make sure you are checking in again and sharing the data with the group. I hope that this has been a helpful opportunity for you to learn how to lead a healing space for community members. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. There we go. So that you can see my full face again. And hopefully this is helpful for you. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. We're www.wellnesspromoters.net. You can find us at Wellness Promoters on Instagram and here on YouTube. And I look forward to seeing you all at our in-person sessions in Oakland, Freedom Community Clinic, every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Hope to see you there. Take care.